everyone kind of goes through a little, their trials and tribulations to that. And it's not trying to put a race or a face on it. It's just like, this is real life people and authentic stories that happen. And that's what we're trying to capture here.
No one believes in an Asian basketball player.
Have mercy on my soul.
It's a joke in this country. We can cook, clean, count real good, but anything else, we pick last.
Cause I got it on me.
But if you stick to our plans and we beat Monk, we'll get our shot at the NBA.
Look, have mercy on me.
I met Eddie, I believe in 2017, through a mutual friend, through a kind of Asian basketball league in San Gabriel Valley. We had kind of developed a friendship naturally as a team, and we always go out to eat, kind of hang after the games and stuff like that. It's more than just basketball for us. And so I had been kind of in the restaurant industry as well too. And so he invited me on a couple of times to come and cook with him. Before I really got to know him, I thought food was kind of his jam. And so at the end of 2018, right before Christmas time, he called me after we just did an event, and he was like, "Hey, like, how you doing? What's going on?" I was like, "I'm good." He's like, "Did you have fun?" And then he told me, like, "I think you'll be good at anything you decide to do in life." And I was like, appreciate the like midday, like, pick me up. This is not normal. What's up? And he was like, have you ever thought about, working in the entertainment industry? And so he basically offered me to be his personal assistant. And so fast forward to June, I'm his assistant. We get the green light. We go through the meeting with the studio. Him and I moved to New York. We lived in New York with each other throughout the entire production of the film. And I show up to our studio 3 weeks, I think it was a Thursday. Eddie's standing right there at the door, and he was like, "Give me your phone and give me your laptop." And he handed me scene 44, which is myself and Mr. Chin sitting on the couch watching the Chang versus Lendl tennis match. Kind of a big, important scene for the storyline of the movie. He's like, "Take as much time as you need. We're going to try to record this later." And so I took 3 hours, ate lunch, and then in our line producer's office, Mike Tadros, we recorded that scene. He sent it into the studio, kind of explaining why he wanted this to happen. The studio was like, "Whatever you need, we support. We got your vision." And that following Monday, I became Boogie with 3 weeks to go before production started, and the rest is kind of history.
Mr. Alfred, welcome to AP English.
I prefer my stripper name, Boogie.
For me, it was one of the most visceral experiences I've had, because it was like, he believed in me before I believed in myself of completing this project. And it's just the truest story to that, just the belief in someone before they believe in themselves, and like the power of what that can do. You can take a kid off the street and make a movie. That's like what can happen with it. And it's not always going to happen, but it's that power of finding something inside of me that I didn't even know existed. And he was able to extract that. I've never seen writing, about an Asian American basketball player before. And that was like my instant, gratification, or like instant grabbing tool that came to me. It was just like, there's an Asian American basketball player, navigating life, adolescence, coming of age, and like, what better world to be a part of, because it's very familiar to me, but I don't think a lot of the world knows that. And so it was like, really just, you had nothing but to just be like, wow, this is it. Like, this is the script. And literally, I just looked at my notes, like, from when I first started working with him, and my note back to him, my email was like, "This kid is me."
As a self-hating Chinaman, I was skeptical about Boogie.
I see that. Have mercy on me.
For me as a basketball player, like, I rely on a lot of like the natural like rhythm and flow of the game when you're just, whether it's a rec league or playing with friends, like playing full court, like I just rely a lot on kind of the back and forth and like the rhythm that you can develop. Funny enough is that my quote unquote title before, when I was assisting Eddie, he got me the title was basketball coordinator. And so I diagrammed all of the basketball plays that we ran through. It was actually kind of funny when I started writing the script, just trying to, make it as simple and easy as possible. So it's not like super chaotic, super, immersive plays that are going on. And it's just kind of like basic motion and rhythm. But it is very just like you run a play. Did we get it? I think we got it, but we got to do it 5 more times just in case. So it's weird, but it's also very fun.
What's up, one, two, soup?
Come on, back in the locker room.
All right.
Yo plan to beat Monk. So what are you gonna do?
So having Papa part of that, he'd go to the studio for like 10 hours after filming and then come back to set. Like he just has this like crazy energy. But no, we spent a lot of time like in between takes, or if it was like, resetting stuff, they're setting up fights or whatever it is. And like, I think at first he was saying thing like, yo, like you can actually hoop. And I was like, I can hoop, man. Like trust me, I can play basketball. And so like we would, we'd play like shooting games in between like takes and stuff like that. And like, you can tell right away if someone like can really play ball or if they cannot. And I think for me and him, we both just kind of like looked at each other like, yo, like you can hoop, and like you can hoop, and like what, like this is going to be great. And so I think for us, we just kind of bonded over that. But I mean, it was fun to me be around him because he just has such a crazy fun like spirit and energy. And at like 20 years old, I mean, the kid was a monster, and monster in all the good ways, and just so much talent. And it's unfortunate, he's not here with us anymore. I think there's so many different connection ports to the movie. I think instantly people are like Asian in basketball, like, wow, oh my God, you get super bright-eyed. And although important, that's kind of just the vessel we use to tell the story. We knew people would relate to basketball, connect with basketball, but basketball and hip hop kind of have this like intersection. Music culture just in general in the basketball form is huge. So having Pop a part of that, great. I've heard the connection to the hip hop. New York City, it's about Boogie's vision and like what his experience as an Asian American going through, in New York City and what that lens looks like, and how I think the biggest thing is just like how normal that is. The kid plays basketball. The kid is an adolescent teen. He has a quote unquote broken home life, but like everyone kind of goes through a little, their trials and tribulations to that. And it's not trying to put a race or a face on it. It's just like, this is real life people and authentic stories that happen. And that's what we're trying to capture here. I think people can relate to the immigrant story. I mean, I can't tell you how many people DM'd me saying like, oh my God, that slap. I've been a part of that slap before. It's just very real. And it's not a crazy rich Asians thing where like, I don't know anybody that owns half of Singapore. I don't. I wish I did. I wish I owned half of Singapore, but I don't. And it's trying to break out of these stereotypical roles that we typically see Asians in, whether that's we're all gaudy, extremely rich, we're doctors, we're kung fu masters, we're nerds. And it's really just trying to normalize that experience and just understand and give a voice to the world, saying like, we've been through some stuff as well too. Not everything is pretty with us. And like, just like you, we grind and we try to go through and find our footing in this world. And I hope that people can see it and not just see like, oh my God, it's basketball, and can see it and be like, wow, like, that gives me hope for something, or that gives me this, that gives me inspiration to try to go after that. And, I think it will.
I need you to fight for yourself the same way you fight for being Chinese.
Going through this process was like, I learned so much about myself. Like we talked about coming of age movie, and like I myself kind of came of age. Like before this experience, I'm like, don't put the camera on me. You don't want me in front of the camera. Like, you don't want anything to do with me but the camera. And I learned, you have to get over that, before you even start this process. And so for me, that was like such a big hurdle. But I learned so much of just being able to like extract and understand that like all I need is inside of me already. And I just need to be able to pull and extract it out at times. Acting is definitely something I would love to pursue. I'd also love to kind of like, Eddie and I, before, the acting portion came about, my track was to kind of, become a producer as well too. And so just involvement in the industry for me, it's getting something in there, that's acting, producing, creatively, developing something. I love the entire process of it. But, in a lot of ways, this this movie in a basketball term is like my game film. And so when it finally comes out and it gives people just a baseline of kind of where it was at, combined with the background of the story of how it all happened, you know, there's going to be some opportunities that are out there, and stuff that's in the works. It's up to me to kind of get my shit together and do.
If you want.
I've got to represent. I got 5,000 years of Chinese history. It's a lot of pressure.
I know how you feel, but you have a chance to change history.
Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy on me.
My dad actually was the first time meeting Eddie, and he like pulled Eddie to the side. My dad was like, "Is Taylor actually like good at this?" And he was like, "Mr. Takahashi, like, yes, I wouldn't like expose your son to this if I didn't believe in him, if I didn't think he was going to be good enough." And my dad was like, "Okay."